Next segment for Mobility May is we're going to focus on correcting or lower back rounding when we're trying to squat. So if you find your knees pushing forward and you feel it's hard to keep your hips in a tight position with that core brace, we're going to talk about fixing that posture. This usually comes from two major things: our adductors, our groin being very tight, and our hamstrings being very tight. But the thing about hamstring stretching is, if you remember from the hips, is a lot of times our hamstrings get tight because they're overactive because we have bad posture to begin with. So you just have to be aware of that. Make sure we do not ever try to stretch your hamstrings by folding forward, especially if your back's tight. Do not be leaning back. Really try to keep your butt squeezed, keep a good posture. Today, we're going to focus on rolling out, inhibiting our overactive hamstrings and groin. Start off general. The first thing we're going to use is a roller to get our hamstrings. So it's pretty easy. Shouldn't really feel too tight on this. We can elevate ourselves, keep our wrists in a straight position, keep our core tight, make sure we're not rounding too much, and just roll from right behind our knees all the way to the bottom of our butt cheeks, and then back down to our knees again. You're just going to go up and down with that. Spend about 2 or 3 minutes doing that. It should be pretty easy. The next rolling exercise for hamstring, just going to go lacrosse ball, baseball, tennis ball, and a hard box or surface. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start at the top of our hamstring, just below our butt cheek. Make sure our weight is going straight down into it. I know you're going to want to avoid it, but try to kind of go after that pain, keep that tight core, that forward lean. We're not rounding. And we're going to go side to side, start at the top of our hamstring, just below our butt cheek, and we're going to work all the way down until we're just behind the bottom of our knee. This should take a few minutes to work your way down your hamstring. You're definitely going to find some tightness at the origin points of the hamstring, so at the top and the bottom. The last hamstring soft tissue exercise will need a barbell secured in a rack or a raised platform. Go ahead and carefully split our legs over that barbell. And we're going to work on trying to go straight down into it. We're almost sitting on that one hamstring on the leg that's in front. The leg that's in back is just kind of hanging out. Try to have all your weight go straight down through the hamstring. And we work on kind of shimmying side to side. If we find knots, we can bring our heel towards our butt. Try to relax, sitting down into it. And we can work our way down our hamstring. So really try and sit and sink into that barbell. Let it dig out some of those knots in your hamstring. Try different angles with your feet and work your way up and down for at least 2 minutes on each side. The first rolling exercise for our groin or adductors, we're just going to need a foam roller. We're going to go ahead and split that foam roller on the ground. And the leg that we're trying to get is going to be up at 90 degrees. We're going to lay down with that leg elevated. So start mid-thigh on the inside. You're trying to make sure that we have that leg perfectly parallel with the floor, so you can just get in directly into the groin. Keep your back in a neutral position, try not to arch, try not to feel like you have to look up. And you're gonna work on shimmying in and out so you can get all the way into the edge of our groin and back out again. This should be tight, and you wanna focus on going after that pain. Really try and keep your leg up at 90. Don't let your leg trail down as we do this. Keep it intense. 2 minutes on each side to start. Work way rolling in and out our groin, keeping that back in a neutral position. Next, we'll use a mobility stick, and we're gonna go ahead and try and roll out our groin with that stick. So either sit on the ground with your back supported or up on an elevated surface, and make sure you can relax the inside of your leg. Use that stick, and you're gonna push down, working all the way from the top of our groin down. Keep it only on our groin. Try not to be working your quad. Keep it on the inside in your adductors, pulling into it, pushing hard, trying to dig into some of those fibers. And spend at least 15 to 20 big rolls on each side. The next soft tissue exercise, we'll need voodoo floss or mobility tape. We're gonna get up in our groin with the mobility tape. You're gonna go ahead and plant it and wrap around in that joint. Try to stay in that groove of your groin and work on wrapping it really tight. Pull that tension. Once you've secured that mobility tape extremely tight around that joint, so it should be wrapped at the top of our hamstring all the way in our groin, we're gonna work on a couple different full range of motion movements. The first one we can do is a squat. We can simply work on sinking down in that full range of motion, going back up, and you're gonna feel that your muscles are restricted and you have to work against that tape, and it's actually working on some of those knots as we go. So you can get a couple squats in, a couple different lunges, sinking down, getting that groin work, pull into it, and then the last one we can do is work on swinging our leg with that tape, nice and gently. A key note for this though is make sure that you pay attention to your skin color and do not cut off your blood circulation. You definitely shouldn't go more than a few minutes with this thing on, especially if you go really tight. And the great added benefit of using voodoo floss or mobility tape is that it promotes blood flow right after you take it off. So you notice your skin gets very pale and white at first, and then immediately after it gets flushed and it gets a lot of blood to that area. So if you've got an injury or a restricted joint or inflamed joint, this can be awesome.